Hello and welcome to Quarantini. I guess it's still happening. We're still in quarantine. I'm Dr. Eric Cervini. Thank you to everyone and your kind words from my video yesterday as I unpacked these babies, hardcover. I know Facebook flips the video, so it might look like it's backwards. In fact, it does look like it's backwards, so I'm sorry about that. But they are here. I am so excited about it. Miraculously, in the middle of a pandemic, FSG and Macmillan, my publisher, were able to print thousands and thousands of these. So thank you so much to everyone behind the scenes and the team at FSG for making that happen. So I've been getting a lot of questions about how can I get a signed copy of these babies, The Deviant's War, the homosexual versus the United States of America. I had to check to remind myself what it's called. So I came up with a really fun solution for not only how can I give away some signed first edition copies to people, but also how can we celebrate Pride this year. It's the 50th anniversary of Pride, and all the parades are canceled. So I came up with a really cool solution, and I'm calling it the DEVIANT'S Challenge. You may have seen on social media people are doing like daily favorite films or favorite books or favorite songs. Well, now that we're exactly 2 weeks away from the start of Pride Month, I think we need to look backwards and figure out, all right, before Pride parades existed, how did people celebrate? How did people declare their pride? And one of the very first ways that people were able to do that, especially in the 1950s here in Los Angeles, where the first Matching Society, the first national homophile organization, as it was called, began, they started with something called consciousness raising. And what that means is they essentially sat in a circle and compared stories, right? Because you have to remember, before the mid-20th century, the concept of a gay minority or an LGBTQ plus minority being just like a religious minority or a racial minority, that didn't really exist. It was completely unheard of. And so people who were sexually deviant had to teach themselves and learn that they actually did have shared characteristics with other people that brought them together. And so that was one of the early ways that people celebrated what we now know as Pride, is basically forming community. And I think that's something that is so important right now, especially as our LGBTQ plus community is fractured to begin with. Gay bars are closing. And now, in the middle of a pandemic, we're looking for ways to celebrate. So what is the DEVIANT'S Challenge? Well, every single day, I am posting a prompt. So if you look at my Facebook page or on my Instagram, you can see I listed a prompt for every single day about you and your deviant culture, your deviant life. So today, the prompt is your coming out story. So if you share, either written or in video or however you want to share it on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and you tag me and hashtag DEVIANT'S Challenge, I'm going to pick someone every single day and FedEx you a copy of the book. Okay? So I have to start first. I have to explain what my coming out story is. So I'll give you a little bit of example. I'll start it off, and you can just say whatever you want. And it'll be so cool to see how everyone else's stories are different, but also how similar they are too. So that's really what I'm excited about. So what is my coming out story? I always think it's so funny on first dates back when I was single, on first dates, people would always ask me, what's your coming out story? And I'd get so embarrassed. I would get so nervous because it's why do I need to say that? But I think it's so interesting because it is one of those things that brings us together, even though we have so many differences and so much diversity within the LGBTQ plus community. Everyone has this one experience that sets them apart from anyone else in the world. And so even though it's a shared experience, everyone's process of going through it is a little different. So I'm so excited to see how people do it. So mine, I was closeted all through high school. I'm from Central Texas. I was really excited about going to Europe for the very first time right before I went off to college. And throughout high school, I was dating girls and realizing that, I really loved these people as friends, but I wasn't really feeling the physical attraction. And so I started grappling with, all right, well, what does this mean? And starting realizing that I had feelings for other boys. And finally, after I graduated from high school, I was like, ugh, I gotta do something about this. I'm not gonna live my life in secrecy. I don't think I could handle it. And so I was like, all right, how do I be really strategic about this? This is like the logical time to come out. It's a change in my life. I'm going off to Boston, to Harvard, for college. So this makes sense. And so I said, all right, I'm going to make it as, of course, as theatrical as possible. So it was the first time I ever went to Europe. I was 18 years old with my best friend, who was actually the last girl I ever asked out. And she said no. But we were still very good friends. And we went to Europe, and we were these tiny little kids. I don't know how my mom allowed us to go. And we're gallivanting around Paris. And of course, we've been friends since like third grade. And we're always bickering, right? We're like an old married couple, which is why I probably asked her out. Because I was like, this is probably what love is, but different kind of love. And so we're in Paris. And it's me, this like little 18-year-old sitting outside of the cafe. And I'm like the worst traveler ever. I like sleep in. I'm not good with plans. I'm a total mess. And so my friend was getting so annoyed with me that like I was taking forever to get out of bed. I was like not really wanting to go to the museums. It was just, I'm kind of a lazy traveler. And so she was going, we kind of got in a fight and started bickering. And she was like, you know what, Eric, when you have a girlfriend, you can't act like this. And I was like, not girlfriend, boyfriend. And she goes, what? I was like, it won't be a girlfriend, it'll be a boyfriend. And then she was like, are you kidding? She was like, are you serious? And I was like, yeah, I'm serious. And she's like, you're gay? And I was like, yeah. And she's like, oh, amazing. And then we like hug and stuff and we're crying and everything. And I was expecting like the rest of the trip just to be like this transformative experience. But the big takeaway was nothing changed. We like kept bickering the entire time. It was an amazing trip. It was like a life-changing trip. It made me want to learn French. And we're still friends to this day. She's actually dating a girl now, which is fascinating. And so, yeah, I think that was a big takeaway, that even though it felt like this big monumental moment in my life, nothing really changed. People still, as long as you're nice to them, they're going to be nice to you. And if they don't, then they shouldn't be your friends in the first place. So I think that was what was so relieving about coming out, was how all my friends, especially my friends in college, when I told them, they didn't treat me any differently. And even though I was kind of expecting like a lot of excitement and celebration and things like that, they were just kind of like, all right, cool. And so I'm very lucky that I had that. And it reminded me that even though we build it up in our minds as this big monumental moment, it doesn't have to be. And you can come out on your own terms whenever you're ready. And yeah, that's my story. College was great. My first kiss was with a guy named Eric, which was kind of awkward. Hi, Eric, if you're watching. And the rest is history. And I was able to find someone who I'm now in love with. So I'm going to start crying, aren't I? Did not expect that. But anyways, that is my first Deviants Challenge response. So I want to see all of y'all's coming out stories. It can just be one sentence, right? Just put it on your story, put it on your post saying how you came out. I want to see it. Just don't forget to tag my name and also hashtag Deviants Challenge. And every single day, so around this time tomorrow, I'll announce who I randomly select for a signed limited edition copy that you will get before anyone else. And I will send it your way. I'll ask you for your address and send it every single day. I'm going to do this. So go look at my story or at my feed to go find all the different challenges. And you can start with day one, and we're going to do it every single day leading up. We're calling it Celebrating the Path to Pride, because Pride is in exactly 14 days. So don't forget, post what is your coming out story? Anywhere on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, we're going to be looking through all of them. Don't forget to tag #DeviantsChallenge and tag me, my name, you type in Dr. Eric Cervini, and it should show up, and I will be able to see it. And I'm going to be sharing some of my favorites too. So that was my coming out story. Hopefully wasn't too soppy for you guys, but thank you all for joining, and I cannot wait to show you this fancy book. It is so soft. I really didn't expect it. It's like velvet. I love it. All right. Thank you guys. I will see you tomorrow.